This episode of Encounter took us to the Koda Arts Centre in Port Louis, where Dr. Ishan Shivanand presented his book, The Practice of Immortality, a book written in the period of confinement due to the pandemic of COVID-19. Dr. Ishan Shivanand questions the existence of life and what lies beyond in a reflective and meditative process. Dr. Ishan Shivanand is a globally acclaimed yogic scholar and mental health researcher. His yogic background comes from knowledge acquired in Indian monasteries under the guidance of his father and mentor, Dr. Avadhut Shivanand. Dr. Ishan Shivanand shared his story with a mindful audience.
When all of the monks were gathered in the meditation hall one day, my father came in dressed in white. He addressed us all. Today will be a special meditation, he told us. He looked directly at me, smiled and said, today the meditation that we are going to do is the Antim Yatra, which means the final journey. In some remarkable way, he seemed to have connected to the thoughts that had been occupying my mind about the cycle of birth, life and death, and how we can achieve our liberation by mastering the flow of time. Now I understood why my father was wearing white. You see, in my culture, white is the color worn at the time of death. A dead body is divested of colored clothes and dressed in white. All those who are in mourning also clothe themselves in white. The meditation started. My father told us to close our eyes and we all sat. We took a few deep breaths and my father continued. Take your awareness to the time when your whole life will be behind you, my father said. In front of you there is a gate. Beyond that gate, what exists you do not know. And all you know is that you each will reach that gate. That gate is death.
Dr. Ishan Shivanand, so you are the author of The Practice of Immortality. First of all, we would like to know why this title?
Practice means something that we can do in our life, and immortality means the knowledge that is eternal. Humanity, when it is ready, when its consciousness rises, it is possible to invent great knowledge. Like if you talk about the Greeks, they had some great inventions, great thoughts, ideas, philosophies, and then when the Dark Ages came, we lost everything. And again, when the Renaissance happened, Age of Enlightenment happened, humanities rediscovered a lot of the lost knowledge. So knowledge is eternal, and the practice of that eternal knowledge is what I wanted to bring to the youth, and hence the title.
When we talk about immortality, we think about the soul, which we believe is immortal or is regenerated. So do you talk about that in your book?
I talk about Eastern theological concepts, yes, because that was my inspiration. I do come from a background where I was raised in a monastery, and Eastern theological concepts are one of the oldest in the world. Some fantastic work in philosophy has been done. And just this whole concept of eternity has a profound impact on a person's psyche. So I do talk about these questions that everybody eventually will face, but at a point when the whole conversation becomes redundant. For example, we start to think about the meaning of life when there is not much left. But then what's the point? So I want people to become awakened at a faster pace, and I hope that the knowledge I present can act as a catalyst. So this is not just a story or philosophy that is hidden within the story. It is a practical guidebook with step-by-step instructions after each chapter on how to master mindfulness, the basics of meditation. And yes, in my journey, I have taken theological references because that's who I am.
You know, when reading in literature, people interpret what the author has written. Now, immortality, do you think people might literally interpret it as there are some secrets you're telling about immortality?
It will be nice that they learn something, because the way AI revolution is happening, I think humanity will very soon find out a way, at least consciously, to live for a longer period of time. If you look at what science has done, 300 years ago, the lifespan was 35, 40, and now the lifespan has almost doubled in most of the world economies. And as science develops, technology develops, then I don't know in which way we will be living for a longer period of time. But now it's not about living for a longer period of time, it is living in a state of peace. You can have 500 years of happiness, but what if you are in a state of psychosis? Then that's 500 years of psychosis. Who would want that? So what I think I am presenting here is not a way to live forever, but a way to live happily for a long time.
And you've said it right. Today we are in a world of conflicts we see in different parts of the world. And how do we believe in making people happy and living happily, surrounded by all those uncertainties?
I think when the world is uncertain, that is the time we ourselves must become our own anchor, when we can't rely on anything else, because everything is changing. We are living in such a transitional world where people are having, Gen Z is having the attention span of cats. We are in a meme culture. We rely upon social media algorithm to keep us educated and informed, and things that are the brightest and the loudest keeps our attention. If such is the culture around us, then how are we stable? What is holding us grounded? And that is why such practices as the one I talk about are most important in a chaotic world, because 20 years ago, my book would be considered hobby reading. If you want to read, read. Otherwise, you have so much more to rely back upon, fall back upon. You have your family, you have your theology, you have your friends. And today, when we are alienated, isolated, I think my book has become critical reading material, because it helps us find direction in a world which has none. The book is entertainment. And this happens. We read books on golf, but doesn't mean we can become Tiger Woods by just reading that book. That book is nice, inspirational, and entertaining. The practice of immortality is different. I wanted to write a book, a magnum opus, that has enough within it, so that if a child, maybe in a small island of Mauritius, having a small population, reads the book and is inspired to take a journey inwards. Because after all, we can't go to ChatGPT and say what is the meaning of life. And I'm sure ChatGPT will regurgitate something, but it will not take its root. My hope is, if that child in Mauritius develops a curiosity to take an inner journey, to find himself, then he must have a vessel of tools, a vessel of ancient techniques, a vessel that had been utilized by the great yogis of the past, so that that child can take the inner journey as well. And if this is the last book you ever read upon meditation, then this book should be enough.
Now, when you say things which are complicated, you make it so easy. Are they really so easy?
As a mental health researcher, humanity has its way of making that which is easy convoluted, and that which is difficult seems accessible. I'll give you an example. The fallacy of being easy. When COVID struck, we had all these videos of people telling us how to wash hands. Imagine billions and billions of dollars of loss, economy shut down, and the best thing that's being told to us is how to wash hands. But it is a fact. Most of the diseases that are waterborne, if you boil the water, wash the hands, there is a great probability you will not get sick. But it is so easy. About 100 years ago or 200 years ago, when microbiology was sort of picking up, I think, let's give it a century. Before that, people, when they would get sick, they would think, oh, this is because of witches, or this is because of God is unhappy, and then microbiology picked up, and we realized, no, it's something so very small, and something as simple as boiling the water and washing the hands can prevent disease. And I'm sure at that time, people must be thinking, how can it be so easy? We have been killing people at the stakes for being witches, and you are saying it is so easy as to wash the hands. And the same is with things that I talk about. These are easy concepts because they are real concepts, but humanity is ego driven. We don't want to have that accountability, so we try to make it more difficult than it has to be.
And before leaving you, I would like to ask you this question. It's not your first visit to Mauritius. Is there something special about Mauritius that inspires you and that you might want to write in the future or talk about Mauritius in the future in your lectures?
I don't see Mauritius as foreign to me. I am one of the sons of Mauritius. I have had a relationship with Mauritius that's more than 15 years old. I've lived here constantly for almost 6 years. I have learned so much from Mauritius. In fact, I pride myself to be as one of the cultural ambassadors of Mauritius to the world, because whenever I travel and people ask me, where is paradise? Then I like to quote Mark Twain, that God made Mauritius first and then just copied heaven. So I love Mauritius, and I hope Mauritius loves me back. And I'm so very glad and happy that I could share my culture, my research, my methods and modalities that have helped millions of people around the world, which I hope some of you know about, because I've been serving this beautiful country for almost 15 years. So I have done what I could, and have tried, and I've helped. But I don't want these secrets to remain with me. What I talk about, secrets go extinct if they are mere secrets. For them to live forever, they have to be shared.